In this video, I'm gonna go over the fragrances that I wore this week. Honestly, I have to say, this week I was all over the place, just like the weather. Some are really old, some are newer, some are expensive, and some are not. Really interesting week in fragrance for me. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Peter from Central. On this channel, we talk about fragrances, designer, niche, perfumers, fragrance lists, new fragrances, and that sort of stuff. So if you're into fragrances or you just want to smell nice, here comes the plug. Don't forget to love, like, share, subscribe, all those wonderful things that support the channel. I want to thank you in advance. And now let's get right into our video. Actually, this week for me in fragrances started on Sunday. Sunday, I had a birthday party to go to for some young ones, and we went to a racetrack, like little go-karts, and there's some bigger ones and smaller ones. And so prior to going to that, I was thinking, what could I wear to a racetrack, you know, a birthday party? And what could I wear there? Something that has a little bit of rubber in it, maybe something that's reminiscent of, you know, racing, a little bit dirty. And I got the perfect fragrance. And I picked Bulgari Black from 1998. It is the one that looks like a racing wheel. Now this one right here is a really interesting one because it actually has hints of like leather and some rubber in here. It's a powdery vanilla. There's also some wood and musk in this fragrance. So it smells kind of a little plasticky, a little rubbery. It's a perfect little scent. Now at first you would think, that's not something I want to smell, or it's, you know, dated 1998, you know, that's a long time ago. But actually this fragrance you can still wear today, and it was a perfect little fragrance for that Sunday afternoon when we all went to the racetrack. It's Bulgari Black from 1998. A lot of people say that it smells like Midnight in Paris from Van Cleef and Arpels. I don't have that one yet, but if it does, let me know and see if it smells close to it. Maybe I'll get that one at some point too if I can find it. Anyway, this is Bulgari Black 1998. That was the one for Sunday. So playtime is over and we had to get a little bit more serious. And here where I live on Monday, it was a little bit on the warmer side, and I needed something to just kind of help me like freshen up in the morning. So what I chose for Monday morning was Bentley Silver Lake. Now this one just came out in 2020. It's a relatively new one. And I have to say, this one does remind me a lot like the Acqua di Chio Profumo, the Acqua di Chio line. It smells along that line. And I sprayed it on and I walked downstairs and I had my breakfast and I was kind of smelling myself. And I was like, you know what? I like it. But for Monday morning, it was a little bit too fresh for me. So I needed to just give it a little bit more depth. And so what I did, I layered it and I got Molecule O2 from Molecules Eccentric, and the Geisha Schön is behind this one. And it's just a single molecule that I sprayed right over it and lend Silver Lake just a little bit more depth. Molecule O2 is Ambroxan, so I just give it a little bit more depth, and I was perfectly happy with those two. That's Bentley Silver Lake from 2020 and Molecule O2 from Geisha Schön. Then on Tuesday, I had to go to an important meeting in the morning, and so I wanted something that smells extremely elegant, confident, and of course, you know, a bit on the expensive side. And what I chose for that day was Penhaligon's The Tragedy of Lord George. This one was created in 2016. I think the perfumer is Alberto Morias, and this one is a amber, woody, and there's some tonka bean in here, which gives it a little bit of sweetness. It's very creamy to me. It doesn't last too terribly long, but for that morning, it was a perfect scent to get across the capability and elegance of a gentleman. It's a beautiful fragrance, and I mean, the bottle is bar none one of the best bottles out there. It looks amazing on the shelf. And with the longevity of about around 6 hours before it sits in really close in the skin scent. It's a great fragrance to wear. It's something that I would see like a gentleman from England wearing, that's not too in your face, kind of smooth, beautiful, a little bit soapy and creamy. It's a beautiful scent for an English gentleman. On Wednesday, I dressed in all black, and I wanted to just, I don't know, I wanted something a little bit more youthful since I really went with Lord George for, you know, Tuesday, and it was kind of more of a grown-up day. So I wanted something that's a little bit more playful, and I went with an Issey Miyake. The Izumiyake that I chose was Polaris. This is a brand new one, just from last year, 2020. And this one has a note in it called Gurjun Balsam. And Gurjun, to me, mixed with the labdanum, comes across a little bit on the powdery side. Gurjun is a balsamic note. There's also some vanilla, some leather in this fragrance. But all in all, I think this is a pretty powdery fragrance with a little bit of depth. It's quite unusual. And of course, all the Izumiyakes, I love them. They're very unique scents, something completely different that you don't smell everywhere. And this one is a 2020 release. Like I said, it's a beautiful fragrance, a little bit on the powdery side. And what I did for what I did for Thursday is I went with a Mandarina Duck, but not the original one. I went with Mandarina Duck, the Extreme. Now this one is also formulated by Nathalie Laurson. This one I believe came out in 2014. There's the tiara flower in there. There's some vanilla. There's some sandalwood, some cedar as it dries down. And it has an orange blossom at the very top when you first spray it. Now, there's also tonka bean in there, so it's going to be a little bit sweeter as it dries down. But at first, it's kind of fresh, and then it's very smooth and kind of a creamy nuance to me. And if you have the original one, just the Mandarina Duck, not the black Extreme, just the black, they're going to smell along the same line. This one might just be a little bit more intense. But if you have the black one, do you need this one? It's a little bit superfluous, I think. I have the other one, but they smell very much along the same line. So do you need both of them? Unless you wear it all the time, not really. But I have this one, and so I wore it, and I had a really good time with it. Really beautiful composition from Nathalie Laurson for Mandarina Duck. Now, like so many of us reviewers, we always expect, since we ordered something in the mail or whatever, we always expect a fragrance to come in. And so for Friday, luckily enough, I got Thursday, but for Friday, I got a fragrance, and it's called Desir Toxic by m.micallef. And it's this one right here. Now, I'm not going to go too much into Desir Toxic. I just did a video on this one, kind of talking about how that whole experience is or went. And I'll leave it in the cards for you up here if you want to see what I think about Desir Toxic. It's a beautiful fragrance that is on the niche side. It's a little bit more on the expensive side, but it's worth every penny. So if you want to see that one, like I said, I'll leave it in the top. And that was my fragrance for Friday. But since I got this one on Thursday and I wore it on Friday, I got a little extra in the, packaging, and m.micallef sent me Avantgarde. I believe I chose this one. It's a 2006 fragrance, and it's quite unique. In this one, you're going to have some cacao. You're going to have some incense. It's not too terribly dark when you first spray it. But it's a unique fragrance from a while back, and there's also going to be some leather in there and a really beautiful ambergris dry down. Also a good bit of tonka bean. Now at first, this fragrance is very fresh and kind of lighter, but it deepens rather quickly. It is 100% unisex. I think anybody could wear that. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of these anybody could wear. This one for sure, it's 100% unisex, just if you like a little bit of, rubber in your fragrance. Avantgarde by m.micallef is a beautiful fragrance, fresher at the beginning, then it dries down. It's going to have some Russian leather and ambergris in the dry down. And for me, this one lasted all day. It was quite amazing at how long it actually lasted. I got an easy, 7-8 hours out of it before it set in closer. It's a really good fragrance that you could wear out when it's colder outside, even though it starts off fresh. It's a beautiful scent, and I think the name Avantgarde is perfect for it. But, so we're on Saturday, right? And of course, I wore m.micallef Desir Toxic on Friday. And if you know anything about the fragrance, then you know that it has a little bit of a classic scent to it, and it reminds us a little bit of, something a while back, hints of it. And so for Sunday, what I wore, which is actually this morning, I went with a banger that kind of had a hint of it in Desir Toxic, and I went with Drakkar Noir for today. That's my scent of the day, believe it or not, but I was reminiscing backwards as I was wearing Desir Toxic. And it did remind me of it as I was wearing it. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm totally going to wear Drakkar Noir from the 80s. So if you're a younger guy, you can totally still pull off Draco Noir, even though it was from 1982. Great scent, still smells awesome, has a beautiful dry down. Those were my scents for the week that I wore during my work day, you know, from the morning till about 3, 4 o'clock until I got out of there. If you enjoyed it or got anything out of this at all, do leave a love, like, share, all those wonderful things that support the channel. I want to thank you in advance. Until next time, I want you to take good care of yourself, always smell nice. Now we'll talk to you soon. Until then, scent trail.